Slide between the Ford Escape and the Ford Explorer, the Ford Edge is in a very popular segment of vehicle. But that said, I tend to always forget about this car as it's somewhat of an awkward middle child, and in the tsunami of Ford E-names, it's hard to keep straight which SUV is which. But just because Ford picked a bad name for this car doesn't mean that it's a bad SUV. So we're going to take a look at it today, and we're going to let you know if this should be a household name like its big brother, the Explorer. If you all like this video, please consider subscribing to Gas Guzzler Reviews. Today we are reviewing the controversial ST trim of this vehicle. We'd love to take it for a test drive, guys. We just need to be a little bit bigger to start doing that. So please hit that subscribe button if you want to join us and help us grow. And also a huge thanks to Koons Ford of Baltimore. And we are very excited to work with them. They're great folks, especially Desmond right here. So let's get into this review, guys. Their website will be in the description below. Hope you enjoy it. And let's start off with our exterior looks here at the front. Love the hood. It has this nice, almost inverse bulge to it. I think that adds really nice depth right there. The black grille could be a little more creative, but you know what? It's an overall nice sporty look with your ST badge right there. There's a lot more ST badges around this car that we'll take a look at. The main highlight up here at the front is these LED headlights right here. I think they look really nice with this sharp point towards the front, and what I like the most is it looks like they're a solid piece going through to these fog lights down here. So it almost looks like it's a solid light that goes down through this body panel right here. Like the look of that. Let's take a look at the side. And here we are at the side of the vehicle. First of all, I love the side profile of it. I actually think it looks really unique compared to a lot of other vehicles. It's got a really nice mix of curves and nice solid lines. But I want to bring your attention to these wheels. These are part of the $2,695 Performance Brake ST package, and they are 21 inches. They're painted black, and they have these red calipers, which look awesome. I really like the look of how they spoke out like that. Really good look right there. You have $395 rapid red paint. I like the look of this, but I prefer the performance blue metallic color that you can find exclusively on the ST trim. I think that color looks amazing. I really like the window line of this vehicle. I like how they outlined it with black instead of chrome. I think it contrasts with the red really nicely. Your hatch does have a pretty aggressive slope to it back here, which might cut into your cargo room, but we'll talk about that around the back. Around the rear here probably isn't my favorite angle of the vehicle, but it's not ugly. It's just sort of average. I do like you have these LED taillights, and they don't form an open circle. They sort of open up as they go around the side of the vehicle. I think that's a nice integration of the vehicle. It makes the design more coherent. The only other design thing that I really want to note back here is these exhaust tips. They're squared off. I think they're a little awkward. They don't connect to the actual exhaust, and I think they're a little too tall rather than wide. So I think that makes them look kind of awkward, but that is an opinion thing. This vehicle does have a foot-activated power liftgate, and I do want to note, I think Ford has the best foot-activated power liftgates. They seem to be the only brand for me that works every time that I try to use them. And then you do have a button back here to fold down the seats. You're gonna have about 39 cubic feet of cargo space with that second row up. Putting it down will give you 73 cubic feet of cargo space. You have a little button here that will let the seats fall down. It will not pull them back up like some other vehicles. So that's just something to note. And you do have 12-volt power back here. So you definitely have some pretty good trunk space for a vehicle that is more sport focused. Before talking any more about this Edge ST, let's talk about some of the other trims and key features they get you. Starting at $31,100, the base SE trim comes with Ford Pass Connect, which is a really cool smartphone app which allows you to start your car remotely, to view certain statistics about it, some really cool features. You're also going to get Ford Sync 3 infotainment system standard along with push button start. And around $34,355, the SEL trim is going to get you an upgraded 9-speaker audio system, Active X seating material, which is sort of like a fake leather, and you're also going to get heated front seats. Stepping it up to the $38,100 more luxury-oriented titanium model, it's going to get you some nice touches like a heated steering wheel with leather seats. You're going to get your sound system upgrade again to a B&O system, and you're also going to get a hands-free power liftgate. At $43,265, topping the range is the controversial ST trim. You're going to get better brakes, a bigger engine that we'll talk about in a little bit, and you're going to get some special seats with Miko inserts. The seats are really cool. We'll talk about those when we get to the interior. As tested today, the one we have has a few options we'll show you guys, and it comes in closer to $53,000. But those performance goodies aren't the only cool thing you get with the ST. You also get a really cool experience. Ford has what's called the ST driving experience, where you go to Salt Lake City and you get a one-day driving experience where they hook you up with other people who have STs and you get to drive around and enjoy the cars. You also get catered lunches, a hotel stay. All you have to pay for is the flight there. I've looked around online and it sounds like a really cool experience, and people who have gone to it actually really liked it. So that's a really cool touch, Ford. And regardless of what trim you go for, all edges come standard with Ford Co-Pilot 360, which is a pretty advanced suite of standard safety features, including blind spot alert with cross traffic. You're also going to get auto emergency braking and lane keeping. Now, you can also pony up and pay for Co-Pilot 360 Plus features, which include evasive steering assist, automated cruise control with stop and go functionality. You're also going to get sign recognition, and you're going to get lane centering. So some really advanced driving features from Ford. Standard on the Edge is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine cranking out 250 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. You can expect to get around 21 miles to the gallon in the city and around 29 on the highway. That's routed to the front-wheel drives as standard, but for about $2,000 you can get all-wheel drive. The ST gets that all-wheel drive standard, and you're getting a 2.7-liter V6, making about 335 horsepower and about 380 pound-feet of torque. Gas mileage is about 19 in the city and about 26 on the highway, and that's routed through an 8-speed transmission. Now you join me on the interior of the Ford Edge. The interiors are okay if this vehicle was 10 grand cheaper. There is a lot of just injection molded plastic everywhere. This is kind of soft, but it's a little hard. There's not really any nice stitching right here or whatever. You do get some nice stitching on the sides of the doors as a result of the ST package and on your steering wheel, but that's really about it. So the materials here could be a little bit better. Your seats feel amazing. These seats are so supportive. They're really stiff. If you like that, you'll love these seats. I feel like I'm sitting up very high, actually. My head's almost touching the roof. Luckily, you do have power adjustment, so you can lower them and then you'll be okay. These seats are heated and cooled, and they have nice just bolstering, and they have the really cool ST embossing in them. I think that looks really, really good. So the seats are almost a reason to get this package in of themselves. Something else to know about this interior as we show you around it today is this vehicle does have the $4,800 401A package. That's going to give you a bunch of equipment like this huge panoramic sunroof. It's also going to give you some really cool features like those Co-Pilot 360 Plus features I was telling you all about earlier. Now you join me here in the driver's area. Let's take a look at your key right here. You do have the ST logo on the back, which is kind of cool. Basic looking key. You do have your remote start and trunk on there, which is nice. Not much to say about the key. Put your foot on the brake, which, by the way, these pedals are aluminum, which is awesome. And hit your start button. And your seat will automatically move into place and the car will start right up. Let's take a look at your steering wheel. You have this awesome ST steering wheel. I love the perforated leather right here. This is a heated steering wheel. I also love the stitching. The stitching on the interior here looks awesome. And you just have that ST badge there, which looks so, it's understated yet good looking. Really, really like it. It's just enough. One thing I do not like about this steering wheel is the terrible paddles on the back. I hate that you're going to be touching these all the time. These are just plastic. They are terrible. For a performance-oriented vehicle, this is unacceptable, especially at $50,000. But let's take a look at your gauge cluster right here. You know, I used to think this gauge cluster was pretty nice, but after sitting in the new Mustang, everything else there is on the market right now just feels a little underwhelming. This is a bit more of a dated look. The new Explorer has a much better system. The new Escape, again, the edges, sort of the awkward middle child, hasn't been updated yet like those two have. But this is a usable screen. You control it from these buttons right here. So you have your left side and your right side. The right side doesn't have too much interesting stuff. It's just a continuation of your Sync 3. So you can view some basic information like the radio channel that's playing or compass. through that screen. Your left screen is a bit more interesting. You actually can customize this a bit. You can see right now it's showing the turbo PSI, but using the arrows you can see your fuel. There you can get a tachometer, and you can see as I scroll through, there is also an all-wheel drive menu that will come up that shows you how much power is being distributed to each wheel. So that is a really cool feature. In terms of visibility, I'm holding the GoPro up to my eyes right now. Visibility is pretty good. Your A-pillar does get a little thick towards the bottom, but this is your view out the vehicle. Looking up here, you have your Sync 3 infotainment system. If you've seen our previous Ford videos, you'll know we really like this system. It's actually very snappy once it gets started. It's a little slow on vehicle startup, but once it gets going, you can get to all your menus. It's a nice, modern, clean look. There's not a whole lot to say about it. You do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so this is a great system. I really like it. It's easy to navigate. What I don't like is this huge shroud of plastic surrounding it. That makes the whole system look cheap. This system looks much better in all the other Ford vehicles where it's not just surrounded by a huge slab of gray, black matte plastic. One other disappointment here is the lack of a 360 camera. Hit your camera button right here, you'll see there's our front view camera, and you can even hit the button again and you'll get a bit of a wider angle, but still no 360, which is a little disappointing, especially at this price point. And here is the worst part about this vehicle. This vehicle I would consider great and recommend it to people if this part right here were changed. This is the laziest design job I've probably ever seen. It's just a slab of plastic that they just slap the buttons on. It's all one color plastic. It just looks terrible, frankly. The only thing you have to break it up is this fake chrome knob and this little fake chrome line right there, but that's it. You do have physical climate controls, which is nice, and a physical volume knob, but that's really the only redeeming feature about this area. It just does not look nice. If you look at the new Ford interior, if Ford were to put the interior of the Explorer or the Escape in here, it would be fantastic. But this interior at this price point at this time here in 2020 is not acceptable. Maybe there is one redeeming feature of it though, and that is the most satisfying button I've ever felt in an automobile is right here. It is so snappy. It is amazing. I really like this button. If you all have seen any of our GM videos, you know I love the steering wheel buttons in GM vehicles. This is the same way for Fords. I love how clicky that button it is. That almost makes me forget about how terrible the rest of this is. You do have a wireless charging pad in here for your phone along with two USB-A ports, so that's really cool. So this is a nice, deep, usable cubby, which is nice. The one modern looking area of the center console is this area right here. You have some nice lighter trim around the piano black, which will get dirty in this area, but you know what, so be it. Piano black is what automakers are using these days. I think we just have to learn to accept it. It does look nice when it's here at the showroom and hasn't been all dirtied up yet. You have a rotary dial right here with your sport button right in the middle. I don't like rotary dials compared to the knobs, but I understand that automakers want to free up the space and clean up the interior. You have your electronic parking brake, and you also have a nice little command center right here for your auto on off, your automatic parking, and your parking sensors. You have a nice little area to store your phone right here, just like that. And then you also have these nice buttons which help hold your cups in place. Our cameraman did note that the cup holders are a little small here and in the doors, so that is one important thing to note. You also have a nice little phone holder spot right back here, so you have plenty of spaces to hold your phone in this vehicle, which is awesome. Your center console right here is nice and padded. You have some good stitching here, which kind of makes up for the lack of stitching elsewhere in the vehicle. Not really, but it is nice that they included it here at least. It is not a two-tiered system like a lot of vehicles. You just have the tray right here. Pulling out the tray though reveals a surprisingly deep storage area with a 12-volt outlet, so I was very pleasantly surprised to see that. Now, two awesome things about right here on the door. You have the Ford My Key system, which is the little code you can punch in and it'll unlock the door. That's an awesome feature. I love how Ford does that. Other thing is you do have your keyless entry. The sensors on the door handle are super sensitive. It always picks up your hand. You just put your hand on the door handle to unlock it, and swipe your finger right there to lock it. It's super sensitive, super quick. I love that. Let's open it up and look at your door panel. I want to bring attention to the door panel right here, specifically because I think this is one area on the interior where they did a good job. I was kind of saying they did a bad job on the interior, and that's definitely true for the center, and they definitely missed out on stitching on like the front dashboard, but where they did not fail is on this door panel. For the ST, you have these cool white stitching, you have all that everywhere, and you also have the B&O sound system in this vehicle, which looks really good, those speaker grills, and I just like how they use the metal accents right there. I think they did a great job on this door, even if they did a rather poor job on the center console. And the back of this vehicle, I think, is where it shines the most. First of all, this sunroof is what caught my eyes. It is huge. When they say panoramic, it is not an understatement. This, again, is part of that $4,800 401A equipment group. If you've got the money, I highly suggest it because this thing looks amazing. It makes the vehicle feel so much larger and so much more airy. Speaking of room, let's talk about your legroom. You actually have plenty right here. So I was sitting in these seats with my cameraman and we were talking about how much legroom there would be in the back, and surprisingly enough, there is plenty of legroom right here. We're normal adults and plenty of legroom, so your kids will fit back here perfectly, or if you have friends that you're bringing along for the ride, you can fit 2 people back here nice and easy. 5 might be a bit of a stretch. Having a person in the middle might be a little too much. The seat is nice and wide, but might be a bit of a stretch. And you do have a small hump with the all-wheel drive system, but that said, it's not that bad of a hump, actually. I also like that they carry back features from the front to the back. You have the Miko inserts back here in the seats, which are nice. They're nice and stiff, just like the front. I like that they didn't just keep the sporty seats to the front of the car and they brought them back here. You also have the stitching in your door panel, so they brought that to the back passengers as well. I mentioned the seats, they are heated on the outboard side, so that's really awesome. And then you do have, let's talk about your amenities. You do have 12-volt power along with the household outlet here, which is awesome, along with climate control vents. You do not actually have climate controls back here, just the vents. You also have a little storage cubby in the middle. You also have a little cubby right here. If you pull this down, you have 2 cup holders and an armrest. So the back of this area has plenty of room for people. You have that amazing sunroof, plenty of features. Climate control would be nice, but other than that, your passengers are not going to have any complaints sitting back here. The Explorer ST is still an awkward middle child. Until it gets that redesigned interior, I think I'd either wait for that, or since this vehicle is costing over $52,000, you are in Explorer territory, so maybe look at that option. But once this vehicle gets a newer interior and they fix that gray waterfall of black plastic, this would be an immediate recommendation from me. You've got that awesome 2.7-liter engine in this vehicle. Just, they have some really good attention to detail, like in those doors. Ford has proven they are capable of that. They just need to extend it to the rest of this vehicle, and then I could easily recommend this to anyone looking for a mid-sized SUV. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. We are trying to grow so we can start doing test drives and reviewing more cool cars. So if you guys want to join us on this journey, please subscribe. A big thanks to Coonsworth of Baltimore, and especially Desmond for letting us review this vehicle. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe. Have an awesome week.